Ignore the hair. I'm getting a haircut today. Anyhow, today's video is going to be a little different. I normally condense everything that I see. This feels a little better, microphone wise. Anyway, normally I condense everything that I see in the live streams for Zenless Zone Zero. This time, however, I yapped a lot. Somehow I turned a 30-minute live stream to like 2 hours worth of me talking about it. Granted, there was like a good 30 minutes of that's like mishaps and stream issues, but whatever. Anyway, point being is that there's a lot that I had to say about version 1.6's live stream, a lot of good. There's really not another way for me to do it, right? Like to condense everything that I said and just kind of repeat it. So I did my best to cut it all up. So I literally cut it in half. No more 2 hour, you guys have an hour. There's a lot of stuff in here. Things are not as scattered as I thought they were gonna be. I talk in sections, but I do revisit some topics. And there's a couple rants throughout this video that are essentially answers to some questions, but they're really good overall. Really good stuff. I will also, because there's so much to talk about in 1.6, I'm gonna have more videos coming out this week, such as like Bernice and Zuyuin, whether or not you should pull those characters, if they're worth it, which they are. But again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Trigger and how phenomenal she is, what she actually means coming into the future of the game, as well as Sanby and a couple other things. But like I said, you'll have to stick around for the next videos that are coming out for the rest of the week. Anyhow, enjoy today's video, do your thing. I will get out of your hair now and get my hair done. Yeah, I have seen a little bit. I know this is supposed to be for Anby or Sanby, as well as Trigger, but I don't know anything else going on, right? About all of this stuff going on. I do know that it's supposed to be jam-packed with something, though, a lot of fun. So we'll see how it goes. You guys ready? I'm ready. Let's not even waste any time, because today we're playing Moss Center. 1.5 times the speed. Do I need to do that? Is it a little slow? 0.25 the trigger parts. I saw this GIF on Twitter of Trigger, and I thought Evelyn was something else. Wait a minute, we're gonna have to look at Trigger. Okay, new Sanby. I like what we have so far though. Timeout, 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 timeout. Wait, go back. They can talk. I know this might be super like irrelevant to what's going on as far as like the entire story, but the only hollow that I'm aware of that can talk is like bringer level. You know what I mean? Like even Butcher doesn't talk. So what's going on here? That's 100% Trigger. Oh no, wait. The solid snake meme, they did it. Okay, good trailer so far. We're gonna get to see her kit, right? Because there's a move she has. Hold on, let me go back real quick. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Right here, that where she chucks both blades. This move right here would be a nice Twitch tech. Like if they, because you saw how it sat there on the screen for a little bit. She's got some really long animations, but I guess like preemptively, right? What would happen with Sanby? And we'll see it here shortly, I'm sure. What would make Sanby not so great in terms of a team player, if you will, is if she's gonna be on the screen like she's the only one. Like she's a hungry field character and you can't really swap off. And if they punish you for it. I'm trying to think of like, I think Wuthering did that with Kakarot, right? Kakarot had the whole thing, and Yinlin had it as well, where it's like, yo, we have our like double skill ability. So if you swap back in while we're still on the field, then we keep the skill buff. Then they were like, nah, take it away. You can't do that. If you swap off, it's gone. If they make something like that for Sanby, that would suck. But I like her animations from what we just saw. They're pretty cool. I am a little stun locked here. Hold on. Timeout. Well, you said there's an audio delay? Why is there always a delay here? What the fuck? It's fine. I typically don't go back to play the agent stories, but I think what I do miss about Genshin, no, I know they're fire, right? This is what I wanted this to be a thing in Starro too. What I miss about Genshin is that they didn't fuse the character stories inside of the main story all the time. You know, sometimes they definitely did that, but Starro, it really does feel forced. Like it feels like you're forced to do everybody's story no matter what, even if you don't want to in a way. Now, obviously, like Rappa's story is a companion story, things like that. But in Zenless's case, everyone has their own story. Every character has their own form of an agent story that gives you so much more information about the character, backstory, where they're going, where they want to be, things like that. And I love it. I love that we're going into what is this version, 1.7 or something like that, or 1.6, whatever. We're going to this new version. Yeah, 1.6. I see it right there. We're going into 1.6, and there's a main story which we're getting with Sanby, and then we're also getting Trigger's story as well that will go alongside and it will coincide with the Soldier 11 story that we already have. And you see Trigger save you, right? And this is a reference. There's a shot in here that's, I could be wrong on this, I'm pretty sure this is a shot though, not this in particular, but like this type of shot that you see here. So I see that it's not the same spot. But there's a reminiscent part right here, and this is in relation to what she's saying. She said, Faith and I's story go way back. We've already had an encounter and I've already helped her out. So like, I'm already kind of like into that. And that is the part in Soldier 11's story, which you are, the old game. Actually, no, I think in the new one too, you're forced to do Soldier 11's story. If you start over in the new version, like 1.4's new version of Zenless, you are still forced to use or go through Soldier 11's agent story, which is awesome. And then that helps with this particular thing, which I think is pretty cool too. We said, no, we help Trigger. Oh, so that there's even more then. There's more to helping out Trigger then, because the one Trigger event that we have is with Soldier 11. That's the first time we interact with her. So us helping her out again in the future is really nice. I really do. And I hope, even though Sanby's story is going to be part of the main story, which I'm not opposed to, I do want more Sanby. I want Sanby to also get her own agent story. It doesn't have to be right now, right? Like, let Trigger have her shine. But I want a story with, and unless the main story just wraps it all up. If the main story is really good at like giving us everything that happened before, how the sister clone theory is a thing, what's going on with Soldier 11, and then bringing it to a close so that they can continue on with their life, and like now we get new stories, that would be pretty cool too. I don't think I complain about that. But if there's things that are missing in Sanby's story, that's definitely gonna suck, and I would want an agent story to back that up.
That's true.
The main story and Sanby's story are separated, I believe. Really? Oh, I see. Because well, no, that would be kind of interesting, because we're going into, right, if we look at it, even just based off the picture, they're both, all four of them are here. We did see the cutscene. The cutscene was showing that you have Sanby, you have Trigger, Soldier 11's also a part of that, Lycaon's a part of that, which means Victorian House is going to be there, versus Hugo and Vivian, so the elites or the tops. It would make more sense for that story to be coinciding with whatever's going on with Sanby. However, now that you say that, right, now that we're talking about it out loud, it does make sense as well that her story entirely would be separate, like her background would be separate. That makes more sense. Wait, she's talking about Trigger? Oh, Soldier 11. Okay. For a second, I thought they were talking about Sanby and Soldier, but no, it's Anby. And we know this. We know that they're sisters. But I did see what Azrael was putting out, and this makes it even more interesting. Yeah, the clone theory, but I don't think it's a theory anymore. I think they confirmed they're clones. I could be wrong. Azrael tweeted it. Azrael is my go-to Anby and lore guy. He knows everything. Okay, I'm not gonna hold you. Hold on, and we're gonna talk about this. I think this is gonna be like a huge part of the video. What I want to bring up though, remember earlier when I said like Sanby's whole thing being that she's gonna be a very selfish character on the field? Why I think, and remind me to talk about this specifically so I can have it for the video, why I think this is going to be a huge thing. I think this is going to be another meta shift. Not a meta shift like everything is going to move in this direction, but I mean, maybe meta shift isn't the word. It's going to expand the DPS meta. Right now, a lot of the audience, or rather the community for Zenless, is like gacha rotted. They have gacha brain rot. That's not a horrible thing, but it is a very closed-minded mentality that they have. So the closed-minded mentality that I do want to express, or rather explain, is that what happens in Zenless, or a lot of other gacha games really, but specifically in Zenless, what happens in Zenless is players take the concept of X character, X element, X type, new thing comes out that shares any of those attributes, immediately power crept, right? Or like, this replaces the old character, no reason to use the old character. Perfect example of this is Ellen and Miyabi, or Nicole and Astra. Two characters, or two pairs of characters that share the same element and the same role, so to speak, one being DPS, the other being support. However, both pairs are drastically different from one another. Both can also be used in the same teams, and you get into a situation where you can benefit from having both, or you can benefit from not having one, you can not benefit from having one, whatever the case may be. Point being is that it's not as close-minded as a lot of the YouTube comments or Twitter threads or other streamers that like casually play the game, whatever. It's not a closed-minded thing. You can open up doors. These things open up doors. What's happening here, or rather my theory with Anby, and again, this is before I go and see what's going on with her. So once we see like her actual thing, I'll more than likely come back and like have a different opinion possibly about what's going on. But my whole thing is that this is opening the meta. It's not so much a meta shift, but it's opening the meta. And Zenless has been doing this for a little bit. We saw it with Haramasa. We saw this with Zuyuin first. We saw this with Soldier 11. Soldier 11 and Nekomata play a little bit differently. We see that with Ellen and Miyabi. They play extremely differently, even though they fall under the same role as DPS. If you open your mind, you open your third eye, right? Your mind's eye, when it comes to looking at how characters perform or play or function as a team and individually in Zenless Zone Zero, what ends up happening is now you get to see that these play styles are completely different. So what we saw with Sanby earlier, which I'll go back here and briefly rewind it, you guys are gonna see Sanby plays, as I said, a little more selfishly on the field from what it looks like. She makes up for this with crazy fast attacks, okay? And it seems like the fast attacks build up, right? They're building the damage up over time. Maybe she has something that's going to be able to like instantly take a character out. You know, I see this little mark right here. That's definitely going to be something that's unique to her because this symbol doesn't exist in the game right now. So we'll see. And you also see, right, even though this is a part of the story, but you can see she's shredding their HP bar with just a couple hits. After she builds up some stuff, she's going to shred through their HP bar. So what ends up happening in situations like this is, let's say you are playing Haramasa. Haramasa is a burst character, right? Haramasa is not supposed to be on the field shooting off arrows. It's trash. You want to bring him out on a burst type of DPS, but it looks like Anby is like the an Evelyn, if you will, even though Evelyn has a lot more going for her as far as like the chain attacks, the swapping, the ultimates. Like Evelyn wants to abuse switch tech, which is how you get the maximum damage out of her, right? You maximize her damage output by abusing switch tech and your partners on the team. Sanby doesn't look like she cares, right? So this would make more sense for Trigger or Pulchra to be off-field stunners or supports, whatever. Sanby might have a kit that rewards you for maximizing combos, maximizing field time, and also building a team around that. And why I say this opens up the meta is because there are characters like that in the game. They just don't have the necessary tools to do it right now, right? Like to maximize that effort. A good example of this, Soldier 11 has a full bread and butter kit, which is her kit is almost perfect. She's missing a couple things that would make her busted, like an insane amount of damage, excess meter gain, and overall just having one of the more like closer to 2.0 type kits that really make her stand out. But Soldier 11 at her core wants to be on the field. Why? Because she doesn't need any form of meter whatsoever. Soldier 11 is the only character in the game that can give, well, maybe not anymore. I'm pretty sure I'm still right, but I'll have to go and verify this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Soldier 11 is the only character in the game that can gain all of her damage from like an EX skill, the ult, whatever, because it all comes from her burning, right, the flaming slashes, just by playing fighting games. I don't mean literally playing fighting games. I mean doing the input, right? It's a special input. She's the only one in the game with this in her kit at the appropriate time, input button press at the appropriate time, gain burning slash, no meter. And there's no difference between this manual burning slash and automated burning slash. Automated burning slash is using EX skill, chain attack, or ultimate, and then she just guarantees, you know, gets 8 slashes from being able to do that. Using manual burning slash gives you the same reward for free, which is huge. We went over this with like Evelyn and her having the ability to CC, right, wrap up enemies in a game, explode, switch tech, and keep all the meter, essentially doing it for free, is crazy. Soldier 11 and Sanby being clones makes way more sense. Their playstyle together makes way more sense. I saw a YouTuber saying they were killing Haramasa with the Sanby debut, but doesn't make any sense since they have different functions. Tsukigami. I know we're like continuing with the video, but that's one of the points that I like to point out, right? Where like I like to make a thing is that, and I'm not saying like, oh, I'm better or worse, or this person has a better opinion or anything like that. I'm just saying that like there are definitely, everyone's takes or opinions or whatever should be valued in a way when it comes to listening to, in Zenless Zone Zero in particular, because we're talking about Zenless, should be listened to. But you need to have some form of like validation behind what you're talking about. And when you say things like this, right, which I saw a lot of people doing this whenever they announced Sanby, and this goes into what I said, literally the start of this rant or like tangent was that because Sanby is an electric attacker, right, she shares the same element or type, right, the same one of these 3 attributes that I talked about. Because she shares that with another character, everyone else's brain, the gotcha brain rot,
automatically goes, oh, she replaces so-and-so. No, like if you, and then my boy Bite, he asked me, he was like, well, he asked everybody, but I answered. He's like, he already has an invested Haramasa. Is it even worth him pulling for Sanby? And I'm like, not if you're free to play, you know? So here we go. And yeah, Venom, you're cooked, buddy. You're cooked. Go ahead and get him out of here. Ban that motherfucker. Okay, yep. So you're right. That's the mark we saw earlier. Okay. Okay, so just confirmed exactly what we were theorizing earlier, that she's going to have some reward for staying on the field and maximizing your combos. So being able to attack, because obviously they're not going to tell us everything, but it said attacking them and then being able to put the mark on them. Now, because Zenless typically does this, there might be, or there more than likely is going to be some method of doing multiple marks at one time, or skipping animations and putting like a mark and then immediately doing another, or doing like double mark, hold the skill, or do the EX skill, mark again. And like there is so much optimization that could happen from something like this, especially with her type of combat promoting on-field play. Now, another thing that could bring up, I guess, more on-field time with her is if there's something in her kit that says like, hey, if the stun happens, that's a mark. If, like how Haramasa has it, right? If the enemy gets stunned, that's a mark. If they get the attribute, the anomaly, that's a mark. If they get disorder, that's a mark, right? Like, so if she has things like that built into her kit, it's gonna promote her being on field more, and it's gonna reward you for it, which is great. But what I want to see, and I already know about it, the additional attacks. I want them to talk about it in the live stream. There it is. There it is. So just her EX skill alone, not regular skill, but EX skill, you hold it, which is at 100%. Let me see if they started. I want to see if they started with 100% energy. They start with 100% energy. So 50% of her meter, hold EX skill, and it's guaranteed 3 marks. Which, yeah, exactly, Venom. Instead of doing 1 through 5 combo, or 1 through 5 and then whatever, you're probably gonna end up breaking them up in a way. But this depends if she's that type of character. Not every character in Zenless has a form of like breaking their combos into, you know, basic 1, 2, skip 3, go to 4, or, you know, do EX skills, skip basic 1 through 3, go up to 4 and 5, kind of like how Evelyn does. But most of the DPS do have some way of doing that, so I wouldn't put it past them. Like EX skill, right? So we just saw EX skill, she immediately applies it and then she does it. But what I want to see now, because you're going to use the marks immediately, I want to know if there's maybe like more optimized ways to, and actually let's look at this really quick. I want to see something. Yeah, okay, what the fuck? Timeout. Let's chat. Look at this for me real quick. Now I know DPS characters have like stun combos on little mobs, right? But like Evelyn, for instance, Evelyn has a stun combo where you do, you know, basic 1, you scissor cancel into the dash. You got to do a fully charged dash though, right? So it takes time. You do the fully charged dash, and then you do a regular skill, so it's just the tail slam into the kicks, and then you'll get the stun. EX meter, of course, makes it a little better. Sanby, look how much stun builds up from the, it's already at 33%. That's 2 hits. She hit this mob 2 times and it's at 33%. The rest of the sword finishes, right? She gets all 3 marks on them, and it's 72% days on a mob. Bro, she did 1 move and the days meter is almost all the way filled up. This character is going to be selfish as fork on the field. But like I said, I think they've worked on her kit. You know, Soldier 11 might have been like a beta kit, I don't know. But Sanby kind of like, I'm not building my Haramasa because I want to play Sanby on my account, right? Like, I love Haramasa, don't get me wrong. Sanby being this close to the game, this close to release, that shit fire. That boy's at 72% days, and then she's gonna finish it off. And then what looks like it's cool, right? She does EX special, which is the Sundering Bolt. She now has the marks on them, and you see that she took that pause, right? Sanby paused, didn't do anything. Her whole animation stops, and then she immediately goes into the special attacks by using up the marks. Now, granted, this doesn't get stunned. So now, right, chat, now what we do, we optimize. So now if we know that doing 1, 2, 3 does not get you that stun, maybe you mix in something like, you know, basic attack and then hold attack, or hold attack one time, basic hold, and that'll get you the stun, which would probably get you another rack of 3 marks, and then you unload on the stun enemy, right? Something like along those lines. Dude, I love being able to like theorize, to cook like that with the combat, because that would just be fire. That'd be super cool to do. There it is. There it is. I just said I want to see the additional attacks. Anby deals increased damage to enemies with the silver star mark. Nope, go back. I need to read the whole thing, buddy. When an enemy is marked with silver star, they take additional, is that crit damage? From aftershocks. Turn CC off. When another character in your squad is a stun or support character, so the standard team, Sanby's crit rate increases. When Soldier Zero Anby is the active character, the entire squad's aftershock damage to enemies with the silver star mark is increased. They know what they're doing with this character. They know what they're doing with this character. Fire. Okay, so fire. Oh, this is with Pulchra. Wait. So Pulchra does a thing, right? She's gonna do her thing. Boom. Fire. Now is that a Pulchra thing? Pulchra has 1, 2, 3, 6 fang marks. Fire. Boom. Okay, so that's a Pulchra thing. Yeah, that's Pulchra. I see the mark going away. So is aftershock just this lightning bolt? Because they're not letting the enemy take any HP. Or no, I see it. It's just taking a long time, which means yeah, they're level 1 versus like level 70 enemies, so that it doesn't die. That's fair. Okay, a team buffing, self-buffing DPS character that wants to. What? Hold on. What? Did we go forward or something? That was weird. Okay, I went super forward. I didn't realize that. I'm trying to see what aftershock looks like, because this is her doing, you know, her stuff. Boom, there's fire. Pulchra does her thing. I can't tell what they are. Aftershocks are the official translation for additional attack. If that's the case, though, I can't tell what an additional attack is here, right? Is it this? The zoom. Anby deals increased damage to enemies with a silver star mark. When an enemy is marked with silver star, they all take additional crit damage from aftershocks. Okay, and then fire happens. Zoom. That's what I'm saying. I can't tell what the additional attack is here. I wish they showed off Pulchra's stun value right there. I really do. And Pulchra looks sick. If we're getting her for free, Pulchra looks like, I'm not even gonna hold you, Pulchra might be a must pull. Like getting her to M6, if you can do it. I think Pulchra conceptually would be so good for some current DPS characters we have in the game. Oh, you see the up kicks? This right here, yo, she's playing Mortal Kombat. This is a whole ass Adenian move. Sanby is from Adenia. She's playing Mortal Kombat. The uppercut into the launch, so they allowed her to keep a launch. When the additional damage from White Thunder triggers 3 times on the same enemy, a lightning strike will fall at the enemy's location, dealing electric damage to enemies within range. This damage is also considered aftershock damage, so additional attack. My whole thing going on with Sanby right now, I need to get my hands on it. I need to understand like what an additional attack is being triggered, what makes it happen, because that's what they're not explaining, right? Like, am I just deaf? Damn! Okay, timeout. Wait a minute. Chat. I ain't know Pulchra had it like that. Where insert meme here where it goes, am I a freak? Like, they really hooking Pulchra up. Oh my gosh, bro. She trying to compete with Nicole. Are you? I don't think I am, but I mean, if Pulchra was trying to lay it on me, who am I to tell her no? Okay, so I think I don't like that term. That might be what's throwing me off. Aftershock being just the term for additional damage, I don't think I like it, because shock is relative to electric, and I don't think everyone's dealing something with shock, but her animations are really good. When Pulchra launches an EX special attack, follow-up chain attack, or ultimate, so anything, she enters the Hunter's Got state, increasing her days inflicted. Okay, so the Hunter state is the Fangs thing, right? I think, okay. What up, Ghost? I like this. Let me explain. The reason that I like this is because Pulchra is not going to be the type of off-field stunner where it's like you just mash attack and you're gonna get the thingies, which is what it seems like. It seems like, based off what they just said, they need to do a special attack. But I could be wrong here, right? Okay, so these, yeah, look, all of those are regular Caesar attacks. Pulchra goes away, Caesar comes in with her the assist. That right there. The only thing that's a special attack is literally Caesar doing the shield bash stab. Basic, special. And then she comes in again. You see she's doing it again right here. This is another special. She's doing the stab. She's doing the stab. Pulchra is going to come in, boom, do another attack. There's a boom, boom, right? Done, and then we get it. And it also looks like, right, because if you count them, one special used one assist. 3. Why is she using 3? That's one special attack. And unless Caesar's shield counts as 2, because you do have to press it twice. So like maybe that would make sense. But where's the third? Because that move, okay, nope, that right there. No, that's not a special either. Why is I'm not understanding why she's getting it. If it's supposed to be only on specials, you use special attack to trigger her follow-ups. Right, that's what I understand. Which would then make sense for like her going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But what's happening here, right? If we look at it, which is, that's what I'm saying, I don't understand it. Like maybe I'm missing something. What's happening here isn't Caesar doing special. Special attack, and then basic, and she's still triggering her follow-up attacks. Basic, special, basic, and she's still triggering follow-ups. Yeah, like she's doing a combo. That's a special, basic, another special, basic. That whole string is a basic. But Pulchra's doing the entire fucking animation. All follow-up attacks triggered under the Hunter's Gate state are considered aftershocks, so additional attacks, which would go hand in hand with Sanby. Oh my gosh. Random thought. I think I want to build DPS Caesar. It's not gonna work, but I kind of want it. Baby girl, trigger. I like that she's doing a little, she's moving. Okay, so Billy, she's getting moves. That's really interesting. So she's a stunner that's gonna give quick assist. She also does a follow-up. So she has, if you pay attention here, you know how Evelyn does her, when you're tethered, Evelyn will swoop around. You see she does it here too. So it looks like if you trigger that quick assist, trigger, haha, pun intended, not really. Trigger is going to trigger a follow-up attack off of that quick assist. Yeah, and they don't know the timing for Soldier 11. Yeah, I think they were just mashing right there though. I mean, that's what people do, right? They just mash, it's cool. I want to point something out that they didn't point out. This is stupid. Stupid is a good thing in this context. You guys know how I glorify Seth, and I always talk about how like Seth has the best interrupt in the game. And then some players, which my previous tier list video was a testament to that. Regardless of the fact that I explained why interrupt was so important and like why Seth having that, along with a bunch of other stupid stuff in his kit that's team-wide good for the team, right? Or like universally good for the team. Despite me explaining all of that, there were still players that were downplaying interrupt. Like, oh, you're glorifying interrupt too much. You're putting too much emphasis on how good interrupt is when like that doesn't matter, when all you have to do is get Caesar ship. Okay, if we read this, basic attack, harmonizing shot, Tartarus, which is her off-field attack that consumes the points, yeah? So her off-field stunning capabilities. Consume 5 points of purge and launch harmonizing shot, dealing electric damage and inflicting a large amount of daze. That's the key to getting her stunned. That's base level though. The skill has a relatively high interrupt level. The same type of skill for all squad members can be triggered up to 2 times within 20 seconds. Now this opens up the door for optimizing things the same way that you would with Seth's EX special. The difference is now it's her doing it. So now you have to find the combos, and now you would want to figure out, when do I want to use her Tartarus shot or harmonizing shot to get the super high interrupt level? Why? Because if you're fighting an enemy and you're about to be attacked because you don't have Caesar shield, quote unquote, you're about to be attacked because you don't know how to dodge or you can't block in time, whatever, doesn't matter the reason. You are about to be attacked. The enemy is going to buff himself up. He's getting ready to go into his big Giga mode, his next phase, whatever. Triggering harmonizing shot at the accurate or appropriate times will allow you to not have to deal with bullshit. High interrupt, and I don't know what this interrupt level is, right? Because I think Caesar also has something that says a high interrupt level, but it doesn't actually have a high interrupt. It's not as high as Seth's. The two characters in the game with, like, I'm gonna say they have the highest interrupt level because they stop everything in the game. Seth and Ben. So if she has as high of an interrupt level as Seth and Ben, automatically goes up there. She automatically goes up there. And I'm already putting Trigger and Pulchra. I'm putting both of these characters in a high category, like off what I'm seeing and theorizing alone. Will Pulchra and Trigger be relevant to Jane? Potentially, right? Because Jane, what Jane wants So it's all about having fun, dude. You know what I mean? Bro, is you walk? No, I'm not.
With the help of my enhanced senses,
No, I'm not. When the skill hits an enemy, teammates gain 8 seconds of coordinated support, during which harmonizing shot can be triggered up to 4 times. Okay, so that's from the previous thing. Excuse me. When coordinated support is in effect, harmonizing shot has no cooldown and can be triggered by hitting the target with any attack. What? This character's fucking stupid. This character's fucking stupid. This character's fucking stupid. Now, I did say Qingyi is tier 0. I still believe Qingyi is tier 0. I am now super confident Trigger is tier 0. She cannot go below tier 0. Let me briefly explain why this is fucked up. This skill is fucked up. If they leave it this way, which I'm not complaining, please leave it this way. Give me some fucked up off-field stun. Why is this broken? It's time. Okay, so let's point out the time behind it. EX special is 8 seconds, right? What else is 8 seconds in the game? Soldier's flame slashes. Well, I guess it's not really 8 seconds. It's 8 slashes, which could fall under the same category of anywhere between like 6 to 8 seconds, depending on how fast you can mash that butt, okay? Other characters also have some form of a time-based window, right? When you think about DPS, damage per second, okay? So how much damage can you do within this short time window? Now, because it's an EX move, that means you have normal blue bar, which is her pew 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 off-field stuff, right? And that's, you have to use the every so amount of seconds you use the EX skill or whatever, and then she'll do it. EX special gives you 8 seconds of she's gonna do it on everything, right? So now you get into optimization. This is what we're talking about earlier with experimentation. Finding your combos during this window, whether they be stunned or about to get stunned, that allows you to maximize the damage in that 8 seconds. That's gonna make or break, or I won't say make or break. This type of strategy is going to separate the trigger, any Zenless player really, but I'm gonna say the trigger player, even though they're not maining trigger, but whatever. A player that's using trigger on their team, having this type of strategy in mind and being able to optimize this during the heat of the moment, this will separate who's good and who's not good, or who's better, right? Who's a better player. And I don't say that again, I don't say this like put down other players. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm trying to express is that just mashing with this character is still going to reward you, but understanding why these things are happening, when they're happening, maximizing the time that it happens, is going to make having this understanding of the formula behind why it's happening and how to abuse it. Something that would have taken you 2 minutes is now going to take you like 15 seconds or 30 seconds or 20 seconds. That's gonna be a thing here. Then not only did they do that with her EX special, 8 seconds, they made her ult 12 seconds. Again, timing. Let's put this into a little bit of a consideration. How long does a stun window last? Somewhere between 8 to 12 seconds. That whole, when you pop that stun, the whole bar, 8 to 12 seconds of her just, you mashing something with Sanby and triggers over here. If you double it, right, ultimate and then into the skill, that's 20 seconds of her doing whatever the fuck she wants. And this is the increased version that we saw earlier, right, of harmonizing shot, which has the highest interrupt level in her kit. Hold on, let me, before we do that, you said keep watching, I'm gonna keep watching. Does it start at 0? Okay, she starts at 0 anomaly. EX special gives her about like 15, maybe 12% anomaly. You're gonna start it here. Boom. All right, so about 30%. Boom. She's at 50% now. 50% EX anomaly. Boom, 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 boom. And then here it comes. There's the ult. Okay, and the ult gives, okay, so about a quarter. I want to, if she's based on impact, that'll be interesting. I hope she's not, in a way, right? Like, but if she is, it's cool. What I really want though, I want her to have something that allows her to build into anomaly. Because if you allow her to build into anomaly, you can put her on the anomaly teams. This is dumb. Yo.
Unleashing her ultimate, Miss Trigger enters coordinated support, providing high-frequency fire support for her squad. She rapidly stuns enemies, creating space for her teammates.
I always say that my all.
Look at this number. 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 Not only not only does she have an increase, a 20% increase outside of stun, but then when you stun, depending on your combo, right? Learning what your combo is, she jumps up to about 170% damage or stun multiplier. On top of her already doing the other fucked up shit she allows off field. Now, what's great about this, I'm almost positive you're gonna build Trigger on crit. Trigger is going to be a DPS. You're gonna build this character as a sub DPS. I love this. This might be, I always have a new favorite team every patch, right? This might be top 3 favorite teams for me. Miyabi, Seth, Yanagi is my #1 favorite team in the game right now. Ellen, Lighter, Astra, or Ellen, something with Nicole might be my 2nd favorite team for sure. I really like Nicole with the decibel changes. Sanby or Soldier 11, Trigger, and Nicole might be my 3rd favorite team in the game. I'm not even gonna hold you. I think it might be too much damage, right? And this will help. Not too much damage in the sense like it shouldn't be that way. What I'm saying is I think this will help catch them up to where Anomaly is. I think it's gonna help with that for sure. This is really nice. Look at how often she's attacking.
First half Samby's coming. This is fair. That means Pulchra's gonna be on Sanby, right? Pulchra's gonna be here. Yo, Jimbo, do your thing, bro. Thank you for stopping by, man. Yep, and then there's Pulchra. Okay. Oh, her A rank, her engine is cute. Box Cutter, that's a cute name. We get her an event too. Nice. Cat, what's Juyuin's? It's Ether or somebody from PubSec, right? For her passive ability to trigger. This banner is really good. I'm gonna say this now. This is another banner that if you just happen to be a new player and you have the funds or the time, whatever, this is a good banner to jump in on. No, Qingyi, no. I mean, yeah, she's great, but Qingyi, Trigger, Nicole. I think that's gonna be a strong contender team for what we have right now. I talked about this before and I said Qingyi was already a strong character, right? When I put Qingyi where I did on the tier list, people were like, oh man, she's too high. Albuquerque, no sir, I cannot make it clap. This is gonna be a good banner. Also, Bernice coming into the game, or not coming into the game, but coming on this banner. Why? Pulchra is free. She's also on the banner. So what ends up happening here is now what you're gonna be able to do is, and also Soul, I'll show it to you. There's a trick. You don't need the quick assist to keep her bullets up. You can get the bullets up with Qingyi and in the swap, a different assist, right? The defensive assist, but it's not from Nicole. I'll show it though. But with Bernice being here, Pulchra being free, now if you play Piper, who's also one of the best free-to-plays, right? The best things for free-to-play, Piper, Pulchra, and Bernice is gonna continue to be a strong team. Piper is very good. Like, building into Piper is free-to-play and you don't have Jane, for instance, and you want a strong Anomaly team, this is great for you, okay? Pulchra being free, being the off-field damage or off-field stunner that she is, we already explained this earlier, but talking about Bernice, Pulchra, everything like that is gonna be fucking huge. Now, after that, you're gonna have potentially Jane coming into the game whenever we get a rerun for her, and you already invested into Pulchra and Bernice. Now you have a decision, replace Piper or not. You don't need to replace Piper, she's that great, but I could see why you would do Jane. Jane would maximize the fork out of your damage. This is an amazing banner as of right now. And that's gonna wrap up the end of the video. So there's literally a whole nother hour or so of like me going through the rest of the live stream, going back to certain clips that I really just didn't think you would want to see, at least not after watching an entire hour of me doing whatever the heck I just did for all of you to see. So with that in mind, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you're looking forward to version 1.6 of Zenless Zone Zero, which you should be. And yeah, anything you want me to talk about that is coming up, anything you want me to prepare for with CE server with Sanby, go ahead and start that now. If you're in the Discord, you're on the Discord. Maybe leave community posts if I have them up, whatever. Point being is that if you guys give me the information early, I can go ahead and start prepping it before we actually get to the release. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later.